My friends, listen carefully. The most valuable thing you can protect in this world is not your money, not your reputation, not even your time. The most valuable thing you can protect is your peace. Because without peace, your time feels wasted. Without peace, your money means nothing. Without peace, your success tastes bitter. When you compare yourself to others, you immediately hand over your peace. You trade the calm assurance of your own journey for the chaos of measuring your life against someone else's highlight reel. Think about it. Every time you scroll through social media, you see people posting their best moments, their victories, their smiles. But what you don't see is their struggle, their sleepless nights, their private failures. You see their mountaintop, but not their valley. And yet you start telling yourself you're behind, you're late, you're not good enough. That's the trap of comparison. It blinds you to your own blessings. Comparison says, look at what they have that you don't. Peace says, look at what you have already been given. When you start chasing what someone else was designed to carry, you lose sight of the gift that was placed inside of you. No two fingerprints are alike. No two callings are the same. And no two destinies are identical. You weren't created to be a carbon copy. You were created to be a masterpiece. That means the only person you should be competing with is the version of yourself from yesterday. When you look at your life and start to measure it against the wrong standard, you end up frustrated, anxious, and bitter. Why? Because you're not walking in alignment with your assignment. You're trying to wear shoes that don't fit. Have you ever worn a pair of shoes too small for your feet? No matter how beautiful they look, they hurt, they slow you down, they distract you from moving forward. That's exactly what comparison does. It forces you into someone else's shoes, but they were never designed for your journey. Peace comes when you accept that your timing is your timing. Maybe your breakthrough hasn't come yet. Maybe your business isn't booming yet. Maybe your relationship isn't thriving yet. That doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're still being prepared. What looks like a delay is often divine development. But if you spend your days comparing your process to someone else's result, you'll misinterpret your preparation as punishment. You have to understand that comparison doesn't just rob you of peace, it robs you of gratitude. How can you be thankful for what you have when you're always focused on what you don't? How can you celebrate your small wins when you're obsessed with someone else's big moment? Gratitude is the fertilizer for growth. But comparison poisons it. Gratitude opens the door for joy, but comparison slams it shut. Gratitude says, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I'm not where I used to be. Comparison says, I'll never be enough until I have what they have. One leads to peace, the other leads to misery. Think about a runner in a race. The moment they start looking at the person in the next lane, they slow down. Their form breaks. Their focus shifts, they stumble. Why? Because their eyes are no longer on their finish line, they're on someone else's progress. The secret to winning is not to be the fastest overall, it's to be the best in your lane. That's the truth about life too. Your race is not against anyone else. Your race is to become the fullest version of yourself. When you learn to stop comparing, you protect your energy, you protect your creativity, you protect your joy. Have you noticed that comparison drains you? It doesn't fuel you, it empties you. But when you focus on your own growth, you find new strength. When you focus on your own journey, you find clarity. You discover that peace isn't about having everything figured out. It's about trusting that you're exactly where you need to be right now. So the next time you're tempted to compare, pause and ask yourself, what's the assignment on my life? Because the truth is, if you're chasing their assignment, you'll neglect your own. You'll abandon the very thing that makes you unique. And peace can't live in a heart that's trying to be someone else. Peace only lives in authenticity. Peace only lives in gratitude. Peace only lives where comparison is silenced and confidence is cultivated. Your mind is the battlefield where peace is either won or lost. Before anything shows up in your reality, it first shows up in your thinking. That's why the most important territory you can protect is not your house, not your job, not your reputation. It's your mind. If your mind is under attack, everything else in your life eventually falls apart. The truth is, most people don't lose peace because of what happens around them. They lose peace because of what they allow to take root inside them. Every day you are surrounded by voices, images, and messages fighting for your attention. The news tells you the world is falling apart. Social media tells you that you're not enough. Negative people tell you that your dream is too big. If you allow those voices to occupy your mind, they will plant seeds of doubt, fear, and discouragement. And here's the thing, whatever you plant in your mind grows. If you plant negativity, you'll harvest stress. If you plant fear, you'll harvest anxiety. If you plant gossip, you'll harvest confusion. But if you plant faith, if you plant gratitude, if you plant vision, you'll harvest peace. Guarding your mind means choosing what gets access to your mental space. Think about your phone for a moment. You probably have a password on it. You don't let just anyone open it and mess with your information, right? So why would you let just any thought, any opinion, any piece of gossip enter into the most valuable device you own, your mind? Your mind is more powerful than the most advanced technology in the world, yet too many people leave it unprotected. They let worry play on repeat. They let criticism replay like a broken record. They let fear download virus after virus until their thinking shuts down completely. The peace you desire will never show up until you become the gatekeeper of your own thoughts. Every time a thought shows up, you have to ask, does this thought serve me or sabotage me? Does it build me up or break me down? Does it push me forward or pull me backward? If the answer is sabotage, break down, or backward, you've got to reject it immediately. Don't entertain it. Don't analyze it. Don't argue with it. Kick it out. The longer you let a negative thought sit in your mind, the deeper its roots grow. Guarding your mind also means being intentional about what you feed it. You cannot fill your head with trash and expect clarity. You cannot consume hours of negativity and expect peace. You cannot spend your days surrounded by complainers and expect joy. Just like your body becomes what you eat, your mind becomes what you consume. If you want strength, feed it truth. If you want peace, feed it gratitude. If you want clarity, feed it wisdom. There's a reason why some people can be in the same situation as you but respond with calm while you respond with chaos. It's not that life is easier for them. It's that their mind is stronger. They've trained themselves to think on purpose, not by accident. And you can do the same. Every time fear rises, replace it with faith. Every time doubt whispers, replace it with affirmation. Every time negativity shows up, replace it with gratitude. Your peace is not lost because the storm is strong. Your peace is lost when you let the storm inside your mind. Think about it like this. Your mind is a garden. If you leave it unguarded, weeds will grow automatically. No one has to plant weeds. They show up naturally. The same is true with negativity. You don't have to go looking for it. It shows up every day on its own. But if you want flowers, if you want fruit, if you want beauty, you have to plant intentionally. You have to water intentionally. You have to guard the soil intentionally. Peace is not automatic. It's cultivated by the thoughts you allow and the thoughts you reject. When you take control of your mental space, you stop being a victim of outside noise. People can talk, but their words don't stick. Circumstances can shift, but your spirit doesn't collapse. Challenges can rise, but your heart stays steady. That's what happens when your mind is guarded. You carry peace with you wherever you go. One of the greatest reasons people lose their peace is because they're living without clarity of assignment. When you don't know why you're here, every distraction looks like an opportunity. Every voice feels like direction. Every shiny thing looks like success. But when you know your assignment, you walk differently. You stand taller. You stop running after things that were never meant for you because you understand that not everything good is good for you. There is a difference between activity and assignment. A lot of people are busy, but they're not effective. They fill their days with movement, but not progress. They chase every open door without asking if it leads where they're called to go. That's why peace escapes them. Because deep down, they know they're out of alignment. Your soul can feel when you're off course, and no amount of money, applause, or recognition will calm that uneasiness until you step into the path that belongs to you. When you know your assignment, you don't waste energy comparing yourself to others. You understand that their calling is not your calling. You realize that their lane is not your lane. You stop competing for attention and you start focusing on impact. The assignment brings clarity and clarity brings peace. Imagine driving a car without knowing the destination. Every turn feels stressful. Every stop feels confusing. Every road feels questionable. But the moment you know the address, the journey makes sense. Even if traffic slows you down, you don't panic. You still know where you're headed. That's the power of having an assignment. Your assignment is bigger than a job, bigger than a title, bigger than a paycheck. It's the reason you exist. It's the unique contribution you are meant to make in this world. And the truth is, no one else can fulfill it. They can try, but they won't do it the way you do it. That's why living outside your assignment feels like trying to play an instrument you were never taught. You might make noise, but you won't make music. Your peace comes when you find your instrument, your rhythm, your sound. The enemy of assignment is distraction. The enemy of assignment is imitation. The enemy of assignment is doubt. Distraction pulls your focus to things that don't matter. Imitation makes you copy someone else's design. Doubt makes you question whether you're even qualified. But here's the truth. If you were given the assignment, you were also given the capacity. The seed of greatness inside you is proof that the soil of your life is meant to grow it. You don't need approval from everyone else. You need alignment with your purpose. When you don't know your assignment, you end up chasing applause. You end up chasing validation. You end up chasing whatever looks successful in the eyes of the crowd. But when you know your assignment, you realize that applause is temporary, but impact is permanent. You realize that peace doesn't come from being popular. It comes from being purposeful. Think of an eagle. An eagle doesn't compete with sparrows. It doesn't waste time arguing with pigeons. It doesn't lower itself to chase after chickens. Why? Because its assignment is different. Its assignment is to soar. Its assignment is to rise higher. Its assignment is to see further. The eagle protects its peace by refusing to live beneath its calling. That's the power of knowing your assignment. You stop settling for less and you stop stressing about more. Some of you have been restless not because you're failing, but because you're succeeding in the wrong thing. You're climbing a ladder that's leaning against the wrong wall. And even when you reach the top, you feel empty. That's why peace can't live in misalignment. Peace only lives where purpose is fulfilled. Knowing your assignment allows you to say no without guilt. It allows you to cut off distractions without apology. It allows you to protect your energy because you understand that not every battle is yours to fight and not every opportunity is yours to chase. Peace is not only about what you allow into your life, it is also about what you refuse to allow. Too many people lose their peace because they give unlimited access to people who should have limited access. They open the doors of their time, their emotions, and their energy to anyone who asks, and then they wonder why they feel drained, overwhelmed, and exhausted. If you don't set boundaries, you will always live at the mercy of someone else's agenda. Boundaries are not about being selfish, they are about being wise. Think about your home. You don't leave your doors wide open for anyone to walk in. You decide who gets invited, who stays at the gate, and who doesn't enter at all. Not because you hate people, but because you value your space. Your peace works the same way. If you let every demand, every opinion, every criticism, every request walk in and take a seat, soon there won't be room left for your purpose, your growth, or your rest. Boundaries are the locks that protect the house of your peace. A lot of people feel guilty about saying no. They believe that if they don't agree to every request, they're being unkind. But the truth is, saying yes to everyone else often means saying no to yourself. And when you keep saying no to yourself, your peace erodes. Setting boundaries is not about shutting people out. It's about choosing how much of you others get to consume. Not everyone deserves the same level of access. Some people can have your hand, but not your heart. Some can share your time, but not your spirit. Some can hear your plans, but not your secrets. Without boundaries, people will take advantage of your kindness. They will keep pulling until you are empty. They will keep asking until you are resentful. They will keep expecting until you are exhausted. The problem is not them. It's that you never drew the line. Boundaries are not walls that imprison you. They are fences that protect you. A fence doesn't mean no one can come in. It simply means not everyone can come in the same way, and not everyone can stay as long as they want. Peace requires you to decide who gets your attention. Attention is the currency of your energy. Wherever you spend it, that area grows. If you keep spending it on people who drain you, you'll keep living bankrupt in your spirit. But if you spend it on people who uplift you, encourage you, and align with your vision, you'll grow richer in peace. That's why you cannot afford to allow toxic voices to live rent-free in your mind. You cannot afford to let unhealthy relationships eat away at your energy. You cannot afford to keep saying yes when your spirit is screaming no. Boundaries also apply to how you manage your time. If you don't schedule your priorities, other people will schedule them for you. If you don't decide what matters most, the urgent but unimportant will always steal your focus. You cannot achieve peace when your life is ruled by emergencies that belong to someone else. Every yes you give has a cost, and you must be willing to ask yourself whether the cost is worth your peace. Even your dreams require boundaries. You cannot share them with everyone. Some people will mock them, others will doubt them, and some will secretly hope they fail. Protecting your peace means protecting your vision from people who cannot see what you see. Not everyone deserves access to the blueprint of your future. Sometimes the best boundary you can set is silence. Move quietly, protect your peace, and let results speak louder than explanations. There is nothing wrong with creating distance where necessary. Distance does not always mean disconnection. Sometimes it means preservation. You can still love people and set boundaries. You can still honor people and say no. You can still forgive people and decide they don't belong in your inner circle. Peace doesn't require you to cut everyone off, but it does require you to be selective. Boundaries are the filter that ensures only what nourishes you makes it through. One of the biggest thieves of peace is the obsession with perfection. Too many people refuse to celebrate themselves because they think they're not there yet. Not good enough yet, not successful enough yet. They withhold joy until the dream looks flawless, until the numbers look impressive, until the results look picture perfect. But the truth is, perfection is an illusion. If you keep waiting for perfection before you allow yourself to celebrate, you will never taste peace. Peace comes when you honor the progress you are making, not when everything looks perfect. Every step forward is evidence that you're not the same as yesterday. Every little victory is proof that your effort is working. Yet most people ignore the small wins because they're too busy staring at how far they still have to go. Imagine a child learning to walk. When that child takes the first step and stumbles, the parents don't say, "You failed, you're not walking perfectly yet." They clap, they cheer, they celebrate that the child moved forward. They know that every step, even the wobbly ones, is progress. That's how you need to treat yourself. You are learning, you are growing, you are moving. Stop criticizing your stumbles and start celebrating your steps. Perfection puts you under pressure. It whispers that you're never enough, that you'll never measure up, that your efforts don't matter until the finish line looks flawless. But progress reminds you that growth takes time. A seed doesn't become a tree overnight. It sprouts, it stretches, it weathers storms, it takes root deeper before it rises taller. You don't walk into peace when you demand the fruit on day one. You walk into peace when you honor the process of becoming. The reason so many people live restless is because they measure their success by perfection instead of direction. As long as you're moving in the right direction, you're succeeding. As long as you're further today than yesterday, you're winning. As long as you keep building, keep learning, keep trying, you're growing. You may not have reached the finish line, but you're closer than you were. That deserves celebration. Progress is the proof that perfection is unnecessary. Peace cannot live in the heart of someone who is constantly dissatisfied. If you keep telling yourself you're not enough, you'll never feel calm. If you keep demanding flawless results before you give yourself permission to smile, your joy will always be postponed. You have to learn to say, I'm proud of myself for taking that step. I'm proud of myself for showing up today. I'm proud of myself for not quitting. That's not arrogance. That's gratitude. That's recognizing that even though you're not at the destination, you are no longer at the starting line. Think about how builders construct a skyscraper. Long before the building reaches the sky, they spend months working underground. The foundation doesn't look glamorous, but it's necessary. If the foundation isn't celebrated, discouragement will make them quit before the first floor is ever built. Your progress works the same way. The foundation you're building may not look like much, but it's holding up the future that's on the way. Celebrate the foundation as much as you celebrate the finish. Too many dreams die not because the person lacked potential, but because they lacked patience. They got so frustrated with imperfection that they abandoned progress. They gave up because it didn't look polished yet. They stopped because it wasn't Instagram ready yet. They robbed themselves of peace because they kept demanding a finished product instead of respecting the process. Don't make that mistake. Celebrate the small steps because those steps compound into something massive over time. Progress is peace because it reminds you that your effort is not wasted. It reminds you that even if you're not where you want to be, you're not where you used to be. It reminds you that your story is still being written. Every chapter doesn't have to be perfect to be meaningful. Some pages are messy. Some pages are slow. Some pages are painful, but they all count. They all push you forward. They all prove that you're alive, you're growing, and you're becoming. Peace is not found in rushing. Peace is not found in forcing. Peace is not found in trying to control every outcome. Peace is found when you learn to trust the process. The reason so many people lose their peace is because they're always trying to fast forward life. They want the harvest without the planning, the reward without the work, the victory without the battle. And when it doesn't happen on their timeline, they become anxious, frustrated, and restless. But the truth is, everything in life has a season, and every season has a purpose. You cannot skip the process and still expect the promise. When you trust the process, you understand that growth is happening even when you can't see it. Think about bamboo. For years, it grows underground, invisible to the eye. Nothing seems to be happening. But then, in just a few weeks, it shoots up tall and strong. The years in hiding weren't wasted. They were necessary for the roots to take hold. That's how life works. Sometimes your progress is invisible, but that doesn't mean it isn't real. Sometimes the process is hidden, but that doesn't mean it isn't working. Trusting the process requires patience. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing. Patience means doing the right things consistently without demanding instant results. Peace is the ability to keep moving even when you don't have the full picture. It's the ability to keep showing up, to keep building, to keep believing, knowing that delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Timing is not punishment, it's preparation. When you don't trust the process, you start comparing your timeline to someone else's. You tell yourself you're behind, you're late, you're missing out. But when you trust the process, you realize that your lane has its own timing. A flower doesn't bloom because the flower next to it bloomed. It blooms because its season has come. If you force it to open early, you'll destroy it. The same is true for your journey. If you try to force results before you're ready, the weight of the blessing will crush you instead of carry you. Trusting the process also means understanding that setbacks are not the end. They're part of the journey. Every detour develops you. Every obstacle strengthens you. Every delay teaches you something you'll need later. Peace comes when you stop fighting the lessons and start learning from them. What feels like a closed door today might be the very thing that saves you from disaster tomorrow. What feels like a loss today might be the seed of wisdom that produces your greatest win. Too many people quit right before their breakthrough because the process felt too long. They misread preparation as punishment. They walked away because they couldn't see the finish line. But the process is designed to stretch you, to shape you, to sharpen you. The process makes sure you are ready for the very thing you've been praying for. Imagine giving $1 million to someone who has never learned how to manage 100. That money would destroy them, not bless them. The process is what builds the capacity for you to handle the blessing without losing your peace. When you truly trust the process, you stop panicking about timing. You stop worrying about who notices you. You stop doubting whether it will ever happen. You find rest in knowing that your steps are ordered, your journey is intentional, and your growth is unfolding exactly as it should. You no longer need to manipulate outcomes or chase validation. You can move forward with calm confidence because you understand that everything you're going through is shaping you for everything you're going to.